This video is for all my B-flat clarinets and bass clarinets who are working on their end-of-year requirements. Remember that recording number 1 is your major scale and your chromatic scale. That's concert F major starting on your G note, and a chromatic scale that's also going to start on your G note. Recording number 2 is your prepared piece. You must perform all measures. The goal tempo is 120 beats per minute. And make sure you pay close attention to key, accidentals, unusual rhythms, articulations, dynamics, style, etc. There's a couple notes over on the right side of the screen. Remember, this is only 6th and 7th grade students. 8th graders, you've been given a pass this year. Number 2, scales can be sent separately. So record the major scale a few times, send me the best one, and then do the same with the chromatic scale. Record a few takes, and then send me the best one. And I'm perfectly fine with you sending me a round this week and then sending me another round next week, all the way up until the deadline. I will grade the best 2 or 3 that you send me. Points number 4 and 5 over there on the right side, the scales are going to be due by May 10th, and the prepared piece is now going to be due by May 24th. So I've pushed back the deadlines. Before it was, okay, scales are done in April and the prepared piece is May, and now I've pushed things back to put the scales into May and to have the prepared piece due towards the end of the month, where normally the cutoff would be the middle of the month. So with that said, let's move on to your practice session. All right, let's get into some scales. So I'm in SmartMusic. For those of you that have started your accounts, you've got some settings in front of you. And I've said this before, you may not see everything I see. But when I look at tracks, that's all of your playback settings right here. You can adjust how loud you are, the metronome, and an accompaniment if you're playing something else that actually has a piano part or a full band part. My takes, if you record, as soon as you're done, it's going to show up here. You can delete it. You can click through, find the best one. You can save it. And that's how you send things to me in SmartMusic, just FYI. So you can record, and right after you record, you can play it back. So it's like, hey, that was the recording. Now we're going to play it back. And it'll show you, and you'll hear yourself, and you'll see the feedback on the screen. So that's a really cool setting there. Assessment settings, if you want to see it or not. Loop is really cool. Play around with this. If you're having trouble with just this measure, you can have it loop a couple times. You can also have it click a count off in between to help you reset the tempo, and play it back to back to back, because sometimes we need to go micro like we do in band class and just work on one little thing. Display, these are some things to make it a little easier for you to see what you're doing. I like to have the measure highlighted. I set that for you guys so that you see where you are on the screen, because even I have a little trouble. This is a little disorienting, getting used to reading music on the computer screen. You can change how the cursor moves, if it moves at all. You could turn it off altogether. I personally like beat so that I see the steady beat on the screen, but you can play around with those settings. All right, I'll go back to tracks, because that's where we need to be right now. Over here, we got tempo. You have a tuner. It's trying to tune me right now. So you can use that. It's built into the software. This will toggle the movement and the instruments on and off. So I have different instruments. I can pick whatever I want to play. You may or may not see that. And then there's all kinds of different scale options: major, minor, 16th notes, quarter notes, whole notes, all kinds of stuff in here. This is your count off. You can actually change how many beats the count off is, so that's helpful if you're someone who needs more time. If you have a big instrument like tuba and you need 8 counts to hit the play button and get the horn to your face, you can set that a little bit longer. All right, so let's get into actually you playing through the scales. So I'm going to start each of the scales at 80 beats per minute. Here's the 1 octave concert F, your G scale. See how it starts on G, clarinet players? I will call out concert pitches in class, and you have to think one step above that. So concert F equals your G. We're starting on a G note here in this scale. So here's 1 octave, ready, set, go, 80 beats per minute. All right, pull the tempo up a little bit more, 90 beats per minute. Make sure, as we've practiced all year long as you've been with me in band, we worked on tongue up, slur down. So ta, 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 ah. And on the way back down, get that tongue out of the way so you slur on the way down. All right. This to me is up to tempo. If I hear middle schoolers playing 100 beats per minute scales that are clean, that's a good bouncy tempo for an audition. All right, so that's a 1 octave major scale. This is where everybody starts in beginner band, and then you grow from there. So let me show you what the 2 octave scale looks like. All right, advanced band players, symphonic band, I better be here in 2 octave scales. Concert band, come on. Come on, your stand tunes play this high. All right, beginners, be working on it. Look at this, fingering chart right there. And it'll also play, I'm not going to click on it because it's really loud, but that's really helpful. You could have a weird note somewhere in your song, in your scale, and boom, you just click that and you go, oh, that's the fingering. Especially all those pinky keys. You got 4 on this side and 4 on that side clarinets. That's huge to have that help right there. All right, here we go, 80 clicks per minute. All right, a little bit faster. 90 beats per minute. Okay, and then what I consider up to tempo, 100 beats per minute. All right, so that's your 2 options for major scales, a 1 octave or a 2 octave. Let's move on to chromatic scales. So 80 beats per minute, here is in 1/8 notes, a 1 octave chromatic scale. Now it's in 3/4 time. Mentally, you can still think 3/4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. But I do like this presentation. It makes it a little bit more balanced, that the last note ends on count 1 of a measure. So I do like the choice that they made. It's different, but I like it. So here's 80 beats per minute. Now for some of you beginners, you're going to have to work a little more on this than those major scales. This is the newest information for you guys. You haven't been working on it as long. And, you know, for clarinet players, it's all these different combinations of keys as we work our way up and down. So you may need to try slowing this YouTube video down, or get the metronome out, set it to 60 and 70, and then come back to the video when you could play it up to 80. All right, here's 90 beats per minute. And in all things, I'm looking for cleanliness. If I hear a good scale at 80 and a really sloppy scale at 100, who do you think's getting full points? That's what you got to ask yourself. So don't try and just say, well, Miss Couey said I got to hit it at 100 beats per minute. That's set in stone. No, quality over quantity. So we're trying to play it this fast. We're training ourselves to go this fast, but we may not hit it this year. You have to figure out what tempo is going to sound really good. You want to be like, I'm going to go perform this scale on the stage at the concert in front of everybody. Am I ready for that? Does it sound good? Or does it sound a hot mess? So you got to figure out which tempo is good for you. But I'm giving you the tempos that I prefer to hear when I'm judging scales for all county or for at home stuff with Holly Navarre. All right, so here's the last one, 100 beats per minute. So pretty quick, but just do what you can do. All right, let's move on to the 2-octave version of this. By all county auditions, by the end of middle school, chromatic stuff needs to be memorized. But for right now, you do whatever. Okay, read it, or if you've memorized it, whatever works for you right now. All right, here we go, 80 beats per minute. All right, and just want to put that reminder in there again, tongue up, slur down. Here's 90 beats per minute. All right, and the quick tempo, 100 beats per minute in 8th notes, 2-octave chromatic scale. If you can do it, let's see. Okay, so those were your scales. Let's move on to the prepared exercise. I'm going to let it play through at a slower tempo and then up to tempo. So we're going to start at 110 beats per minute, and I'm just going to let it run all the way through so that you can play along to a slower tempo. Okay, and then up to tempo, 120 beats per minute. All right, I hope that helps you guys. Good luck on your end of year auditions this year.